Yeah, hello to you, David King.
Morning, G. How are you? You good?
Gosh, there's a lot, isn't there?
You know what? I saw a couple of finger tippers on the weekend. I thought, not again, Monday. We're not. Are we doing it again?
I love the blur. Anything could be happening in the blur.
Oh, I know. I heard you say it. Oh no.
I do enjoy. Michael Wilson at least got the right photo.
I know.
So if we married up
you earlier,
Michael Wilson's camera in real time with the cheer squad phones from behind, we actually might have the makings of a system. Just nothing that's actually used.
They're bloody good, the iPhones.
King's Gambit after the first round of the finals.
Well, just because you win doesn't mean everything's perfect, and just because you've lost doesn't mean everything's terminal.
Salient.
There's so much about who you are, the way you want to play the game. Now, nothing is guaranteed. You can win in different ways. You can be beaten by anomalies. You can have have one individual do something brilliant and take the game from you, or you can just have a bad day in one component of the game. There's so many ways you can lose a game of footy. But again, most teams are true to themselves at this stage of the year. So, yeah, Carlton were always going to win the contested possession battle against Sydney. It was just a matter of could they get on the scoreboard. Could Sydney play the uncontested game and get them on the outside? Both teams had their opportunities. Melbourne were always going to dominate for possession and for contest, and they were always going to stand up defensively, but they had a bad 15 minutes at the start of the game. And that's it. In the end, that's it. And a lot will get made of the game in totality, and you'll talk about the 120 minutes like they were the same minute for 120 occasions. That's not right. They only had a poor 15 minutes. They were pretty good for the rest of the night, and a lot will be made of their forward line and all that sort of stuff. Collingwood had a brilliant start, and then they did some things differently down back that we'll talk about, but they were just what we expected them to be, brilliant through the corridor at times, and then pretty much killing minutes of the clock through the boring bits of the game, if you like. So, yeah, Brisbane, we knew they were stacked forward of centre. We knew they had a big score in them. I joked with Cornsey on Friday morning. I said, they'll kick 20 goals on you. You can't stand up down back. They're gonna get their opportunities because they're a good clearance team. Now, it doesn't mean that I didn't see Ollie Lord kicking goals. It doesn't mean that you don't have Butters and Rosie and Paul Francis go crazy for a bit, but their profile says they can't win this matchup. So you are who you are at this stage of the year, and it's too late, baby, to be making drastic change now to get one given result across the next 7 days. So you've just got to live with what you've set up for 12 months.
All right, so let's delve into that. I did have you showed us on 360 on Wednesday night, the players, and you went for Bobby Hill through the first stage of that going, Bobby's everywhere. All right, so let's just take the big issue. The two have won their way into the prelims. Who is the one seed? Is it Collingwood or is it the Brisbane Lions?
Yeah, so
both so good.
It's a great question.
Did. Yep.
And in the end, you just have your own opinion. Yeah, it depends what you value. I guess that I probably value your ability to stand up defensively is what will win it in the end. You know, biggest moments in a grand final or a preliminary final will be won by the team that's got more defensive stability. Now, whether that's through one individual like a Darcy Moore or a Nathan Murphy, or whether it's Harris Andrews or whoever it is, for that one person to stand up, or that one group of people to stand up, I think separates big games. So to see what happened to Harris Andrews puts a little shiver down the spine if you're a Brisbane fan. Gee whiz, he actually looked pretty vulnerable. He started really well. He had the first 2 intercepts of the game, and then that was it for the next 70 minutes. And then Payne looked a fraction vulnerable for the first time in 3 months. I thought, there's something there that's gettable. And it hadn't looked like that, like I said, for a long time. And I thought Collingwood's back six, that's the best they've played for 2 months. And they did it in a different way, and we'll get to the specifics later on. But so for me, is there a number one seed? I don't think that matters who the number one seed is. They're both at home. They're both in a prelim. They're both seriously healthy. And you just charge on. I don't think it matters. It's just about now rest, recover. they get to sit back for a week. What a luxury it is now. Everyone says, "Oh, but you've only played one game in so and so day." What a treat! What a treat! If you had to separate them, I know you were Collingwood last week. You predicted this in a way.
Yep. I'm a bit torn. I might decide in the last ad break. Like Collingwood defensively were just yes. Collingwood defensively were so good. Brisbane's all-out assault when it was go time in the third quarter. That's the equal of anything I've seen all year.
So I think if both teams get 50 inside 50s and concede 50 inside 50s, right? So 50 each to them and their opponent. I would think Collingwood would stand up more down back, but I would think Brisbane would score more in the forward half.
And that's it. So it's the contradiction. I agree exactly with what you've just said.
So I sort of hope they play each other in the big one.
Yep.
Because you get to find out what actually does win. And we all think defence, but they've got some wild cards, Brisbane, haven't they? And even the kid, Fletcher, he a lot of these things, I keep saying it, some of the best actions or alterations to who you are come through mistake or just absolute fortune. Now, when they dropped the Rich and Gunston, Fletcher come in. Like, if you don't make those decisions, you don't reap the rewards. So I think sometimes we're too slow to trust the kids and to just explore and find out because we say, it's 24 weeks. We've got to get to 15 wins. We've got to get to 16 wins. But you've got to find out what's at hand. Like I look at Port Adelaide down back now and I say, what have you tried down back? Okay, now you've got some injuries, but even prior to that, you were no good down back. Defensively awful. So you go into a prelim, that is going to be exposed. You may not even get to a prelim, but going into a prelim, that is going to leak like you wouldn't believe. So what have you tried? What have you done? Have you created a Alistair Clarkson type cluster to make sure that, you know what, when they go in, they'll score, but they're only going to go in 40 times? No, didn't try that. It didn't change the personnel down back. So they didn't really try anything. I look at Brisbane, they've made some tough calls. Bang, it's a boom. It is a boom. Collingwood made a whole host of off-season changes, and all of their acquisitions have played a major role this year. Now, Bobby Hill separates a final for you, Jared. So what does that look like tracking back to? I don't even know what he cost. It would have been third round pick probably. Like what an unbelievable selection that is, and full club decisions or premierships are won by full club all components. So the recruiting department's played a major role in this.
The best bits was Carlton, sort of every bit of it. The Carlton crowd, Blues radio, which was just hilarious. They added unnecessary tension to it so that you got the full Carlton experience.
Did you notice any difference with Sellers? He's been doing that for 20 years.
Call him into crunch time. God, it was funny. If Harry Mackay had kicked the goal from the top of the square to make it 35 points, it might have gone down a totally different road. But there they were, scrapping for it in the last 26 seconds. What to say about Carlton?
Well, I love the way they play. We all love the way they play. It's so honest, and there's an edge to it. There's an anger to it. It's almost like they've been playing finals footy for 12 weeks. And we used to say that about the Sydney Swans, that it was just rinse and repeat. And if it's good enough, it's good enough. And if it's not, well, you're still proud of it. And I think most Carlton fans were expecting to go to the ground this weekend winning and to win well. They didn't win well. They won, but there's a lot to get right. You know, they smashed them in contest and particularly between the arcs. But when Sydney were able to get the ball to the outside in the second half and get into their forward half and lock it in, they looked really dangerous. There were 4 or 5 key moments that, you know, everyone's talking about that next wave of player at Carlton and calling them the bottom 6. I think there's a few that have been a bit better than that, but they were significant and they were important, and I think that comes back to the coach assigning roles to the right players, so they can then perform that role and with excellence, and then creep into the really significant part on the ratings in terms of those games. I mean, Cottrell was enormous. That's the best game he's played since he did the big flex, the big the WrestleMania flex, Jared, years ago, which was very entertaining. So he was everywhere. He was back to help and deep in defensive 50, and then he was forward to impact the scoreboard. So he was a big winner for them. But they've got a lot of improvement. I still think. I thought the positioning of their backs in the first half to set up the game of Wiedering, Kemp, and Sard, they just got things perfect. Wiedering's the one. I still say it. If you cannot defeat his positioning, you're in trouble. So John Longmire at halftime says, we've got to do something about this. So they put Luke Parker to full forward. He stands out the back. He's standing right out the back. So now Wiedering's turning his head thinking, geez, I can't leave him there. So he comes back 10 metres. And then it exposes other vulnerabilities and opens up little holes, little pockets you can use. And the Swans were able to capitalise on that. So I thought, great coaching move. It didn't quite get the job in the end, but Parker was a real issue for them in the second half. So for me, the biggest move of the weekend is the deepest forward. Ollie Lord versus Harris Andrews and Luke Parker versus Jacob Wiedering. That was a throwback to what we'd talked about 3 years ago. With teams pressing up so high, can you hold Dustin Martin at full forward? Dusty would just do it. He would just stand there. And so you want to go up there. Make it 18 v 17. No worries. I'll stand here. So I thought the coaching from Longmire to get them back in the game was significant, but in the end, they fall out of another final series because of their inability to win contest when the game narrows in September. And I know they nearly won it last year, and they got to a grand final, and people are quick to say, but hang on, they have done this before. But they have to address this.
Blake Acres for a third-round pick was a canny move.
Third round, was it?
Third-round pick out of Fremantle.
Wow. Wouldn't they love him back?
Best on ground in a qualifying
He
final.
got long fingers, hasn't he?
Oh, yes, does he ever. We are working our way through the categories of the Monday means tests. PFI is one of our big ones. Preliminary final integrity is how does it look when it gets right to the pointy end. Melbourne, we got to look on Thursday night with the opportunity to make a preliminary final. I think the best analysis always comes instantly afterwards, and this was Melbourne's captain, Max Gawn.
Yeah, probably can't start finals like that, especially when it's hot, nice and early, a little bit of wet weather around. Probably need to be a bit stronger in the contest, so we got our medicine there. Just a bit of a sour taste of the numbers that are on the whiteboard after the game. It's a very almost Melbourne type loss. We've had plus 30 inside 50s. We've won the contest, won expected score, but we still can't get over the line. So,
Kingy, run some PFI over them.
Well, can we just start with the expected score discussion, right? The expected score, the parameters of that expect you to have an AFL average forward line. They don't have an AFL average forward line, so their expected score should be weighted. It should be diminished because their forward line is in massive trauma. So that's that point of the discussion. And we all know that going in. We all knew that Melbourne's forward 50 is not going to be the reason they win the flag. It's not. They're going to win it on contest and defence. Now, their defence let them down. In two 5-minute patches in the first quarter, they got rolled for a couple of goals. Outside of that, the game, in my opinion, is probably leaning towards Melbourne more than it is Collingwood. But you lose these games in small windows. You lose them at forward 50 stoppages, and you lose them on disastrous error or a lack of defensive stability, and that's exactly what happened. I take my hat off to Craig McRae what he was able to do with this back six at Collingwood to not allow Melbourne any luxuries. So we're talking Melbourne, so let's go from that angle. So how are they going to get you? Well, if we play the way we are defensively and rolling up and assisting, we'll leave Bailey Fritsch out the back and he'll kick six. So we're not going to do that this week. We're going to stay more back shoulder, and we're going to make it. If it has to be 6 individual one-on-ones for the first time for the year, that probably suits us because we are better than them individually. So let's not give them easy strolling goals. So throw them the challenge to sort it themselves. There's been a reluctance to use Petrarca forward as the answer because they've wanted him in the midfield. But I still think he's their only way forward. He's their only way, and you have to find another midfield option. Now they've got other midfield options. They started him forward, I heard Buck say today that the ball lived in Melbourne's forward line, so essentially he's forward. It's not the same as having the ball kicked to you. To win a ball with a clearance inside forward 50 is not the same as having the ball kicked to you. I think Fritsch and Petrarca are their only two natural forwards. So if they are to move forward, Petrarca has to be a 3 or 4 goal kicker. He has to be. It can't be 1 or 2. He has to be more than that in the games that matter now. So you work out what needs to be sacrificed for that, because they brain them at contest anyway between the arcs. So how many assets do you want to blow on one area? You've got Oliver back in good health. You've got Viney up and rolling. Do you really need Petrarca in there? I think you can have a third player that's a lot younger. Sparrow's been very good. You maybe got to bring Jordan back in. So the loss of Brayshaw is really significant here. One, because he's an experienced player, and I'm not saying he's the most skillful player of all time, but he just knows at the right time to make the right decision. He's been a big performer in big games. Like when they went on their run in 2021, he was really significant. So you can't just dismiss that he's not there for 100 of the 120 minutes. So they're a little bit unlucky with that, and changing things in game with that sort of loss is tough. And I think there's a fair bit to play out emotionally with that too. That they see their man, who they know's had head trauma in the past, go down like that and be stretched off. You can't just move past that. So I understand the Melbourne side of the discussion. I'm super confident they wrap back around. I'm not giving up on Melbourne winning the flag. I'm not, because I still think that Max Gawn was able to show you again why he's the biggest. He's the biggest individual still left in September. And the way he plays is impossible to stop, no matter who you got. So still a lot to like for Melbourne. Still true to themselves. And I understand that everyone will jump off because of their inability to score in the forward 50. I think that can correct.
What will they do personnel-wise, do you think? So Van Rooyen will come out?
Van Rooyen.
So we'll come to that. So just keep your powder dry there. Will they bring in a tall or will they bring in a small?
Well, you're going deep into your list.
They're a long way into their pack now.
Yeah.
Like you're Grundy or Shaki, really, if you're going a tall.
So this is, I guess, my discussion. Is Petrarca at full forward is a better option than whatever you're going to throw up. And then that next midfielder coming in, whilst he's not Petrarca coming in as a midfielder, he's not Shaki as a forward. Shaki can give you nothing, for any given game. He might be a 2-goal kicker, but he can give you nothing. You can't have a bloke come in a final and give you nothing. But you have a midfielder. If James Jordan comes in, he's a capable midfielder. Now, he's not going to get 35 and kick the lights out of it or do whatever Christian Petrarca does in there. It's probably not going to be BOG, but can he be mid-pack? Absolutely he can. So I would be starting with your best natural forwards in the forward line to try and correct. And Christian Salem's the other one. Christian Salem hasn't influenced the game for 18 months. He hasn't. So maybe throw him to half forward and get some creativity with that ball going inside forward 50 rather than relying on the contest winner at the end of the play. So make the ball use so good that you can't stuff it up. That's what I'll be looking to do, something with Christian. But in the end, they are going to get a lot of opportunities. So not a lot has to go right for it to be a 6-goal quarter for them.
What did you think of the idea of Goodwin having the plus 22 on the whiteboard when they came in? This goes to your don't let any negativity in the door at this time of year.
Yeah, and I like it. I know that other people want to be outraged, but all it is an audit on a whole heap of facets of the game coming together. What should it have? What has it given as a model over a 10-year or 20-year window? If it says plus 4 goals, all things being equal, it might be. You can weight it. You can say, well, we should have won that game. On these numbers and these metrics, guys, we've just got it wrong for 5 minutes in the first 5 minutes of the game, last 5 minutes of the first quarter. Outside of that, we win this game by 6 goals. So don't lose hope in what we're doing. Don't lose faith in what we've set up. We've just got to get better at the totality of the game, not having these lapses, because lapses kill you in finals, and making sure that when we get our opportunity, we take them. It was a good game of footy. It was a good arm wrestle. And the speed of Bobby Hill got them early. The speed of McCreary, the speed of DeGoey, just the blitz players got them seriously early.
So Melbourne, we run through PFI. Port Adelaide, we run through the pressure index. They do look banged up. They got brutalised. Nothing went their way around the injuries and when they popped up. Now they go back home, and they're right in the pressure index right now.
Yeah, we've argued about Port Adelaide all year, you and I, and this is coming to the full stop on the discussion. What is their weapon? Why would they win it this year? Why would they make a prelim, let alone win one? Why would they be in a real hurry to absolutely lock Ken Hinkley away? Why would they be saying this is all rolling? We're flying here. They're not. They've never been the defensive levels of the top 4 or 5 teams, and they sit. Sometimes I know everyone says the ladder doesn't lie. The ladder doesn't lie. You stack your wins, and well done. They stacked a lot of home and away wins in the middle of the year. Won 13 in a row there at one stage, but I look at it and I know that if you can't hold up as a back six, you need enormous help in denying the opposition team inside 50 volume. And as soon as you don't do either of those things, you're gone. So I don't see it the same as others, and the injuries are now going to be a massive impost on Ken Hinkley and their ability to win, because it is going to come down to their spark players in the midfield: Horn Francis, Butters, Rosie, Sam Powell-Pepper at 450 stoppages. Outside of that, it's pretty shallow. The cupboard's bare. So this is why I've been so strong on their chances this year, because defensively they're nowhere near it.
And they know that, which is why they've been in the market last year and this year, specifically around their defence.
Why haven't they done anything about it?
Well, they tried. They were trying to get Radaglia last year, couldn't get him. You can't conjure players from thin air. They didn't know Jonas was going over the cliff as quickly as he did, but he did.
So what have they done?
Mackenzie's injured.
So what have they done to minimise the damage, Jared? I saw the West Coast Eagles lose a centre-half back and a fullback and create the Weagles web. What's Ken done?
Yeah, well, they weren't mugs when they won their 13 in a row, were they?
I kept saying to you, you can win a lot of games of footy playing a whole heap of different ways, but it's got to be viable. This is why we come up with preliminary final. It's the whole reason why we come up with it. Because home and away games, Geelong won a stack of them for years. Richmond won a stack of them for years. And then it'll get to a preliminary final, and you go, oh, have a look at this. Gee, hang on, that's been the case all year. You can close your eyes or put the blinkers on and not look at aspects of your game, but right now those aspects are getting exposed. So don't fall in love with everything and don't fall out of love with everything, but this has been an issue all season long.
How vulnerable are they to the Giants, do you think?
It's the worst possible matchup. So the Giants, the last 6 weeks, if you give them the footy, they're the second best team in the competition at getting on the scoreboard. And as soon as they lose the footy, they're the hardest team to score against in the competition. Carlton and GWS had the best profiles coming into the final series. They were ranked equal 1 on our metrics. And I'm not shocked to see them progress. And I wouldn't be shocked to see GWS go to Port. And everyone will say, but they were there. This happened 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks. The last time they met, discussion's not for me, outside of individual matchups, if you tag someone or a key forward versus key back or a ruck discussion. They're playing some serious footy. Their ball movement is probably the number one feature. And if you can't already stop ball movement and you get these guys who become the GWS Globetrotters just coming through the corridor at speed, it's going to be a tough night. Now, normally we talk like this every year. We just sort of move past the team that stacked the top 4 finish and go for the winner from the previous weekend, even though they've won fewer games across the home and away season. But if you just look at how they play, I'll be tipping the Giants this week just because I think they're asset rich. They got the unpopular pit crew up there. I think Jennings has had his detractors. I think Montgomery's had his detractors. Even Kingsley's had his detractors. And for some reason, the 3 angry men all worked well together. It's a good mix. It's full of challenge. You got to bring your A game when you get into a debate with those guys, and I think it works well for the team. They've had an unbelievable second half of the season to revert back to old type, if you like. Their tsunamis, it looks different. It is different. They play a hectic brand of football and just trust that their back six will get the job done. So when you think of Melbourne's defensive model, there's not a lot of dare in the way they move the ball because they want to stay rigid behind the ball. Well, the GWS are prepared to probably cough up one or two more goals a game, but they're going to go and say to Taylor and Iden and Buckley and these guys, hey, we're going to get yourselves sorted in real time because we're rolling. And they asked Whitfield to get involved, and he was well clamped on the weekend in terms of, exposed, I should say, not clamped. They want Ash to get involved. They want Cumming to get involved because they're going to go at speed. So they're asked to do a lot, which I think is terrific. How do you pierce that and how do you break that is a discussion for later in the week when we look forward to this game. But I'm in awe of what they've done. First year coach, Craig McRae did it last year, and it's Kingsley this year, just stamping themselves on a club straight away. Well, there's no doubting that he's the man now. No doubt at all.
Yep.
We don't often see that, do we? Remember Matty Nix's first year? I don't think he had a win for about 3 months.
Yes, yeah.
And I was like, is this guy, where are we going with this guy? And when it gets wobbly, you start challenging people up the chain a bit. It can get a bit hairy, Jared. So I really like what they've been able to do, and they're a football club charging now. This is not their first opportunity to win the premiership now. They're doing it with a young crew around the edges. What Tom Green's been able to do is ridiculous. The ruckman, oh my God, big Kieran Briggs. He's going to be like Aaron Sandilands. He's going to be this big monster in the ruck, the immovable object, for a decade. They're really rolling now.
Oh, I'm absolutely taken by Callahan.
Yeah, smooth moving left
Oh,
footers.
yeah.
They're easy to fall in love with.
They are. You sort of watch him and go, oh, wow.
They're like racehorses.
Where's that kid with the shoulders strapped again? Oh, there he is.
Oh, he looks nice. What's he doing?
And Kelly, we well know, Kelly's a well-declared commodity, but he is just such a beautiful mover.
So you talk about this game. I haven't seen an error in terms of the matchup error of Toby Green versus Cal Wilkie like that for some time. You got a guy that has a tendency to want to intercept and influence the ball when it's coming in against a guy that if you leave him, if you give him a metre, it's too much. It just happened all day. The first half, Toby had 8 score involvements. Like you can't allow Toby to get himself going. It was a poor matchup, and they paid full-toed odds. I know that Webster's not the best player in the world, and maybe he was going to get beaten by Toby in a different way, but you can't allow Toby to do it on his own terms. And we showed some vision on Saturday night, but I could have shown 15 edits. First goal of the game, he rolls off and gives him 6, 7, 8 metres. Of course he's going to get the footy. Most people have had trouble stopping Toby when you're standing next to him, let alone giving him five yards. So I just thought it was a really poor head-to-head matchup that was always going to leak scores. I mean, what's the worth of an intercept mark 40 metres from your own goal as opposed to allowing Toby maybe half as many possessions, but 40 metres from his goal? You're going to bleed. So, I think that'll be one. I think that Ross Lyon will sit through the summer period and say, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I went with that matchup. Given the start that we allowed the Giants through Toby Green. Like, if we hadn't given them that start, what would it have been? But they're the decisions you make. They had plenty of time to make this one. It's a 2-week lead into the first final, so I think this is one that'll really hurt them.
So, do the Giants have the profile to go deep into this final series?
Yeah, definitely. And it's, again, defensively bulletproof. They have the flair on offense that can challenge anyone. I appreciate and heard Nathan Buckley's thoughts this morning. Maybe they're and Cornsey talking about, are there 2 key forwards good enough to do it for them? Name me some key forwards that have really impacted finals over the last 10 years. There's not really many. I mean, a couple up at Brisbane are going pretty well, but not many have had 5, 6, 7 goal games. Not many at all, 4-goal games. So maybe they don't have to be that. They've got the little genius down there that can do it, and they've got Toby Bedford, who's become a seriously important player, and Brent Daniels. My God, he when he gets the ball, you think it's Toby Green. That's how good he's looking at the moment.
Yeah.
So, no, I think they've got the arsenal to get it done, and they've just got this belief now that's just it's permeated through the group beautifully. They've got to get on the road again. They love travelling. It's a big occasion. I'd nearly think they'd be favourites this week. I don't know how the bookies have it now, but I think that they're nearly favourites.
Let's sign off on the eliminated, shall we? The curiosity. What did St Kilda learn in the season of exploration?
I think they learnt they've got some pretty good players, Jared. They got some good ones in there. So let's celebrate those that have had great seasons. I think Sinclair's had another fantastic season. He had some moments that he'd want back from that first final. And there'll be some tough lessons there, I think, that'll come from the coach. But that's part of learning, part of growing. Rowan Marshall, second half of the year, was just terrific. Cal Wilkie, we've talked about, down back, all Australian fullback, so he's had a great year. I thought the captain had a pretty solid – he was injured for the middle part of the year, but he had a pretty solid finish to the year. Owens is an absolute find, and he sort of validated what they'd hoped he'd be, as that contest-winning youngster in the forward half. Wanganeen Miller is going to be a top liner. So there's a lot to like about components of their list. So it's not all doom and gloom. Everyone's sort of saying they haven't got any talent. They got talent. They need a lot more of it. But I think what we do get is validation that they made the right decision, whether you like it or not, on the coach. And Ross has now got some standards to work with. I don't think he'll be as warm and fuzzy next year as what he was this season. But they've got to get aggressive. We're talking about Collingwood going getting 4 players last year to give themselves a chance to win it. Well, that's the sort of thing that needs to happen at St Kilda without giving away too much high-end draft capital.
The open question is what to make of Sydney's year. Beaten grand finalists last year, beaten elimination finalists this year. Sam Landsberger's got them in the great Grundy coup. He thinks they're getting Brodie Grundy. What does the futures market say around the Swans?
Yeah, well, it's a good chat, isn't it? You look like they definitely need a ruckman. So Grundy would be a great fit for them, and he's got enough around him to make Brodie look really good. Yeah, I think that where would you want to go? You want to go to a midfield that's got Warner and Goulden and Parker and Rowbottom and little bits of Heaney and little bits of Papley thrown in there as well. So that'd be a natural fit. It would be an attractive presentation for Brodie. So I think that will happen. Can they then go and get Ben Mackay as well? I mean, if they could get the 2. That's a game changer. You're rigid down back with McCartan and Mackay, and then you've got your ruck problem sorted. Does that do enough to correct your contested possession profile? It's a fair start. I still think they need the most important player on their list is probably Sheldrick, because he needs to become the contested possession bull in the middle. Whether he can be that player, and he saw him 7 times for the season. But they need someone to go in there and win contest after contest. Early Parker, early Rowbottom. They need someone to be that man. The Josh Kennedy absence over the last couple of years has been stark. Over the last sort of 30 games, I should say, has been stark. So there's a lot to like about Sydney, but then there's some question marks. We always track back to reviewing Heaney and Papley and these guys, but they're fine. They're doing their role. They just need a ruckman and they need a fullback.
The debate surrounds the suspensions. So do Jacob Van Rooyen and Jack Martin first for me.
Well, there's nothing worse. There's no poorer decision you can make in a final series than get yourself suspended, get yourself rubbed out. And the actions of Jack Martin. And Jack Martin's hardly played football in a meaningful sense for Carlton in the 4 to 5 years he's been there. And the first time he's fit and healthy and playing a major role in their forward half, he does that. I reckon Michael Voss would be livid. He'd be livid. He's publicly supporting him and all that sort of stuff. But behind the scenes, he'd be saying, you can't be serious, mate. You can't be serious. We lose Harry Mackay second week of the finals, and we need you to stand up, and you're going to be sitting with me completely healthy. Jacob Van Rooyen, mate, we've got awful problems forward of the ball. Awful. Petty's gone down. Malcolm's gone down. We're looking for a target. I've tried Grundy down there. I've tried Gorn down there. It hasn't worked. You're the only one that's a natural forward that can service in any meaningful way an underperforming forward 50, and you go and do that. Yeah, they'd be seething, the coaches, and they're entitled to be. I mean, there is no poorer decision you can make in a final series than to be healthy and sitting next to the coaches.
And then Braden Maynard. So this is the opening minutes of the first final, and it's going to dominate the entire week with a lot of time to contemplate it. Where do you find yourself as this heads to the tribunal tomorrow night?
I'm torn. Is on first view, I thought he'll be okay. I don't think he had any malice in what he was doing. He was clearly playing the ball, going for the smother, and then what happened after that is a natural. I understand it's a natural reaction, but I'm coming at this from the other side. I come from the other party, the affected party. That I don't know where he is. I don't know whether we see Brayshaw again this season. I don't know whether we see him. This is multiple concussions now. It may become a time where this guy doesn't play again because of these sorts of acts. The game has a responsibility to look after that player, not the other. So I'm torn. I can understand him getting weeks. I think Michael Christian's done the right thing. This is a big call, and in consultation with Laura Kane, just send it up. Go and answer the case, and let's hear all the facts, and let's step through it. And if they arrive at, no, he's clear to play, I'm probably comfortable with that. And if they arrive at 2 or 3 weeks, I'm probably comfortable with that as well. But because too many players are exiting our game ahead of time with massive trauma for 60, 70, 80 years of their lives. We have to cease this model at some point.
So in the heart of this is going to be, what duty of care did Maynard owe Brayshaw from when he left the ground? And that's the tension point, I think.
Yeah. And I can see the other side. I'm not here to defend everything. I can see what they're saying. But it's interesting you talk to Dermott, right? And a lot of people discard because Dermott's been suspended a lot, right, and reported a lot. But there are some players that have a happy knack of making these sorts of actions look clumsy and getting away with them. Now, I'm not saying that's Braden Maynard, but I'm telling you what, it was Dermott Burton, right? And Dermott's great to talk about this. That they can disguise things. So if we live with these disguises all the time, we end up not making the ground we should re-head trauma. I'm not saying Maynard was doing that, but if you allow a little bit and you give a little bit and you give a little bit and you give a little bit, you end up sort of standing for nothing. So I'm comfortable with the suspension here.
That's the debate. And can I just throw a quick worst bit in?
Yeah.
So if we took Bill Simmons' thing and go, if we were playing the Aliens next week and the Aliens are scouting our teams, they would have watched Bailey Fritsch, Harry Mackay, Max King, and Todd Marshall. That the Aliens would be going, gee, they're no good kicking for goal. They're no good kicking for goal. Some of those misses on the weekend in finals footy, that's not very flattering of our overall standard.
You know the old, I'll have this guy kick for my life.
Oh, I asked this during the broadcast on set. I gave Dwayne, you can have Harry Mackay or Max King. Who are you going to have kicking for your life?
Well, I would have taken Todd Marshall. We'd all be dead, Jared.
Yeah.
You'd take Todd Marshall. He has looked pure for a long time. He just couldn't function. And that's what we're talking about, isn't it? Little things, strange things happen in finals, particularly prelim finals. So, no, you've got to live with your lot. That's why you've got to get the rest right, because there's going to be a few things go against you.
Yep. The worst bit, the kicking at goal in those finals. Bailey Fritsch nearly missed his boot at one stage. Harry Mackay missed from 3 metres out and then from the top of the square.
Oh, Harry's got form.
Yeah, so we can sort of giggle at the Harry thing, but that's the long-term issue that he's going to have to sort.
If you were the list man at Carlton, would you be shopping him or absolutely keeping him?
I feel like that's not a frivolous answer.
No, I'm not asking for a frivolous. I'm asking you a serious question.
So he's about to start his 7-year contract.
If you could get right now, tomorrow, from the Sydney Swans, a first-round pick for Harry, would you take it?
I would want to have a long, hard think about it. I wouldn't dismiss it out of hand. I wouldn't. it just makes me wonder whether, it'll be interesting to see them on Friday night again without him. They
Yeah.
played their best footy without him. Now, that might be total coincidence. And we're not the first one to have that conversation. But
See,
does part of me think they're better off on Friday night without him in this singular moment? Yep,
yeah. Well,
I do.
this is the problem with the Martin discussion, compounded by Harry not being there, is that Melbourne know where the ball's going now. So he'll have to defeat Charlie Curnow. Will have to defeat May. May, Lever, and whoever else wants to fall back. Max Gawn on top of Charlie.
So do the seedings at the end of the means test for tyre power. Do your own seedings. Don't get mad about ours. It's just a personal view.
You say that every week.
Yeah.
And it never works.
No, it never does. Very few people actually do their seedings. They just yell at you.
Yeah.
All
I don't
right.
mind them yelling at me. I think last week, for the first time in a long time, I nailed it last week.
That was still going on. I don't like being looped into that stuff for whatever it's worth.
Well, you know what? You looped us into a bit of your stuff earlier in the
I
year.
don't think I
I'm
did,
looping
to be
you back.
honest.
I'm looping you
I
back.
think I accidentally
You
stumbled
fought
into
the
all
world.
of that.
You looped us in.
4?
No, I'm staying with the Giants.
Yeah.
I think I've got the prelim final 4.
Yep.
So I'm
I
staying
know
with it.
I don't because Carlton and Melbourne are playing. I'm going to put... Well, Melbourne lost, so Melbourne will just have to sit at 4
Sit at 4.
for the time being. 3?
Well, I'm going to have Melbourne flip with Colin. I'm going to have Melbourne at 3.
Yeah.
But I can't hear the fact that Melbourne are done. Everyone's telling me that Melbourne, no, that's it. Now they got to beat Carlton, then they got to go to Brisbane. I can see Melbourne wrapping back around, but they have to be at 3, given that the other 2 are through.
Yeah, I've got Carlton at 3. I'm oversubscribed at Carlton. They won. I'm totally happy with that. 2?
You've loved Carlton this year.
Even when they were going no good.
Collingwood, it's 2 for me.
You've done it. I've agonised over this, but I already had Collingwood 1. I'm not prepared to give up my position.
Yeah.
The Brisbane Lions win was more impressive from a certain point of view.
Yeah.
And I'm holding to my... Remember those settings we did around team at venue? Is Brisbane at the Gabba have been the 1 seed all year, but that's not where it's going to be decided. So I loved what they did.
But you're not factoring in the MCG in your seedings, are you?
Oh, I can do whatever I like. 1?
Brisbane, and I just want to say a shout out to Fags. I thought that they're the best version of themselves right now.
Yeah.
And there's something in that. We've been critical of them along the path, and they've still got some warts and some things to fix up from the weekend, but they've come together at the right time, and now a week off, back to the Gabba. Wow, anything can happen.
I've got Collingwood as my 1 seed. They were my 1 seed coming in.
You were very good with that.
Yeah,
Annoyingly.
I don't think they were totally restored. I wouldn't be going that far, but they got their result in the highest stakes Thursday night final. So all the advantages are there, and the next time we
Dacos
see them,
back.
Nick Dacos is back. So Collingwood are my 1 seed.